Fast radio bursts are radio wave bursts that last for a millisecond. According to observations and the general astronomical consensus, these bursts are sporadic with no patterns. However, between September 16th of 2018 and October 30th of 2019, researchers working for the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment found numerous recurring fast radio bursts. These bursts would repeat every 16.35 days. When they repeated, the signals would release 1 or 2 bursts every hour over the course of 4 days. They would then proceed to go silent for 12 days. The researchers were astounded by their findings and began searching for more information. Their strategy was tracing the origin of the signals, which they believed would help them better understand exactly what they were observing. The only problem is that space is big, to put it mildly, and the signals did not all come from the same place. One signal was traced to a large spiral galaxy roughly 500 million light-years away from us. The very first signal they had ever discovered was traced to a small dwarf galaxy that contained stars and metal. Yet another signal came from the spiral arm of a galaxy that strongly resembles the Milky Way. This wide variety of origins made it extremely difficult for researchers to obtain a solid hypothesis. Some possible causes have been considered, such as the orbital motion of stars or other objects on the outskirts of galaxies. Other researchers have suggested that the cause could be a neutron star and OB-type star binary system. I know that probably doesn't mean anything to most of you, so bear with me here. Neutron stars are the remains of a supernova, and they're the smallest stars currently known to us with diameters comparable to large cities. Despite their small size, they have masses bigger than the Sun and they're incredibly dense. OB-type stars, on the other hand, are enormous and have very short lives compared to the average star. A binary system is when 2 stars are gravitationally bound to each other, most often orbiting around each other. Therefore, this theory states that the interaction between a tiny and extremely dense star and a massive star could have caused the signals. Another theory suggests that black holes could potentially be behind the signals due to the high energy and density surrounding them. Unfortunately, these are only theories, and astronomers still don't know the cause of these fast radio bursts for sure. It is also interesting to note that between the years 2019 and 2021, researchers found 25 brand new repeating fast radio bursts by using an algorithm. Who knows, maybe these new findings will lead to some answers sooner or later. Between the years 2001 and 2010, a NASA spacecraft called the Wilkinson Microwave Anisotropy Probe was used to measure temperature discrepancies across the sky in the leftover heat from the Big Bang. During its first year of use, the probe recorded data from a region of the sky that was much colder than the surrounding area. Based on the most widely accepted theoretical models, this cold spot is very unlikely to exist, and yet, it nonetheless does. There are multiple different hypotheses on what the cause of the CMB cold spot is. One hypothesis states that the cold spot may be a massive void in space, a region with fewer galaxies and lower density of matter than average. At one point, researchers found that this cold region exhibited a dip in its number of galaxies, leading people to subscribe to the supervoid theory. However, no further evidence of this theory has been found, and it can neither be confirmed nor denied. Other voids are known to exist, but the one at hand is much larger than any other known to mankind, roughly 1,000 times larger in volume than the average void. A second hypothesis was suggested by a cosmologist and theoretical physicist named Laura Mersini Houghton, the parallel universe theory. She suggested that quantum entanglement may have caused a different universe to leave an imprint on our own before the expansion of the early universe. According to her team, if the parallel universe theory is true, a similar cold spot would exist in the northern celestial hemisphere. Computational analysis revealed evidence that a northern cold spot could exist, but as of now we have not been able to conclusively prove that prediction. As of now, the cause of the CMB cold spot is still unknown. What do you think? Is the region truly a massive empty void? Space is already vast and empty enough. It's chilling to think about a region that is even more devoid of anything. No life, no celestial objects, nothing but darkness and the light of distant stars. Alternatively, could the cold spot be the imprint of a parallel universe? an existence that is untouchable with our modern science, a universe that could contain life, or maybe just more mysteries. We may never know the cause of the cold spot for certain. Hydrogen is the most common element in the known universe. According to a paper published in 1959, if any extraterrestrial civilization were to attempt to contact humanity via radio signals, they would do so by using a frequency that is naturally emitted by hydrogen, 1420 MHz. In 1973, Ohio State University dedicated the Ohio State University Radio Observatory to the search for alien life. This observatory was located on the Ohio Wesleyan University campus. An astronomer named Jerry Amen was working at the observatory as a volunteer, analyzing large amounts of data by hand. While performing this tedious function, Jerry noticed a series of values indicating a strange signal intensity and frequency. Him and his colleagues were floored by their discovery. Jerry even scribbled a note next to the signal reading that simply said, "Wow," giving the phenomenon its name. The radio telescope that picked up the signal could only observe a signal for 72 seconds at most, and the WOW signal lasted for all 72 seconds. Despite numerous attempts, the telescope was never able to detect the signal a second time. Natural and man-made causes have been suggested, but none of them have ever really held up under scrutiny. Astronomers have attempted to determine the origin of the signal, but due to the nature of the telescope that had picked it up, this was not exactly possible. They were able to identify two different regions of the sky that could have possibly been the origin of the signal, and multiple stars within those regions are likely to be similar to the Sun, meaning they could theoretically host an intelligent civilization. Of course, this is mere speculation. Some people have speculated that the signal could have come from Earth and was reflected off of something, but others are skeptical of this. I'll admit that I don't quite understand a lot of the science in these lines of reasoning, but it seems like the main objection to the signal coming from Earth is that it would be unlikely for an object in space to reflect it. The frequency of this signal is also part of a protected spectrum, which means that if the signal had come from Earth, it was sent illegally. In 2017, a professor of astronomy at St. Petersburg College in Florida suggested that the signal could have come from the hydrogen cloud surrounding two comets that had been in the same region of the sky. This hypothesis was soon dismissed because the comets were not in the correct position at the time the signal was detected. One final hypothesis is that the signal really did come from an intelligent civilization somewhere in the depths of space. This is, of course, not possible for us to conclusively prove at this point in time with the technology available to us, but it is an eerie possibility. If true, it opens up a large can of worms and poses numerous questions. For example, what was the signal trying to convey? Is this civilization human or a completely different species? Where in the universe are they? Did they know exactly where we were located, or did the signal find us by pure chance? These questions will most likely never be answered, but we can always hold out some hope that maybe someday we will be able to understand exactly what this mysterious signal from deep space really was. As it stands, the WOW signal is one of the strongest pieces of evidence for extraterrestrial life that we currently have. In the field of astronomy, redshift is the effect of light wavelengths from distant stars appearing spread out because of their constant motion away from us. This phenomenon is an important piece of evidence for the Big Bang and the expansion of the universe. It suggests that all structures in space are currently expanding outward. In the 1970s, astronomers made an amazing discovery. They found that the Milky Way galaxy is constantly moving through space at a rate of 600 kilometers per second. Further research into our local group of galaxies proved that each observable galaxy has a redshift, but there is a strange phenomenon amongst these galaxies. There are discrepancies, or variations in their movement that suggest an object of an enormous mass is attracting the galaxies. Over the course of the decade and through the 80s as well, astronomers worked to gather more and more information about this phenomenon. It eventually became known as the Great Attractor. Scientists have estimated that the Great Attractor affects roughly 400 elliptical galaxies. An obvious early step to take after the initial discovery was to determine the location of this gravitational force. Astronomers found that it is located about 250 million light-years away from the Milky Way galaxy, but unfortunately it is also situated in the zone of avoidance. The zone of avoidance is an area of the night sky that is obscured by our own galaxy, making it extremely difficult to study. One of the few things we do know about this region is that it is dominated by a cluster of very old galaxies, many of which are colliding with each other and generating large amounts of radio waves. The expansion of the universe is a process for which scientists have substantial evidence, but the cause of this expansion is still unknown. As such, astronomers have given the name dark energy to the unknown forces that are causing this expansion, and most astronomers believe that only something equally as dark and energetic could possibly be causing the attraction of the galaxies. It is still unknown exactly what this mysterious force might be. Deep space contains countless unanswered questions and eerie mysteries that may very well never be answered. Hopefully, none of these questions or mysteries will ever turn out to be harmful to us. Unfortunately, we have no way of knowing this for sure.